Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squad for boxing news and views from around the internet. This is the post-fight review for the Tyson Fury and Otto Wallin fight in Las Vegas, a fight in which Tyson Fury took by a unanimous decision, but it wasn't without incident and it wasn't without drama. It was unexpectedly dramatic. Tyson Fury surviving a very nasty cut which could have stopped the fight at any time, and also he was hurt in the 12th round by a fading Otto Wallin who looked to land something big, and he did. Fury was hurt but able to cling on, see out the round and take the decision. Judges' scorecards 116, 112, 117, 111, 118, 110. And it really was a fight of two halves. Very dramatic and sort of even back and forth in the first 6 rounds. Second half of the fight, Fury took over. But we'll get to some of those dramatic moments in the fight and then on to some of the good, the bad and the ugly, because it was a far from perfect performance by Tyson Fury. And I think if you were Deontay Wilder looking at this, you probably would think, actually, I like my chances in the rematch. So we'll crack into some of the action proper, because it started off in a very sedate manner. First couple of rounds, Fury barely out of sort of first gear. He was letting Otto Wallin sort of track him down, Wallin coming forward. The movement of the two, it was something I said heading into the fight. It'd be interesting to see how Tyson Fury dealt with someone who wasn't as static, say, as Tom Schwartz. Wallin, not a very fancied sort of heavyweight in the division right now. He's on the fringe of the division in terms of contention, but he came to fight and he was looking to sort of pepper Tyson Fury with jabs and shots to the body early on, investing in the body. First couple of rounds in the books, pretty even sort of stuff. You could have given maybe one of those rounds if you wanted to, but certainly Tyson Fury, for me, he took the second round. And at the point in that second round where Fury caught Wallin with a very wide sweeping left hook, backing Wallin up, you could tell he was hurt. You could have been forgiven for thinking that, yep, this is all going to go downhill within a round or two. It's going to be wrapped up lickety-split. But the fight turned on its head in round 3. Nasty cut opened up over Tyson Fury's right brow, and it was from a punch. Initially, I thought, and others did too on the broadcast, that it could have been from an accidental head clash, but a replay showed definitely a left hand that landed, and it was nasty. Very, very nasty, and it was bleeding profusely through rounds 3, round 4, and was clearly causing Fury some issues. Blood streaming into his eye, he's dabbing it, trying to get the blood out of there. Wallin looking to target it, and certainly Otto Wallin through rounds 3, 4, 5, and 6, very confident. That cut gave him some confidence, and he was building into a nice little rhythm there. Fury actually looked a little bit rattled in those couple of rounds after the cut. Didn't really want to commit maybe as much as he was starting to from, at the end of round 2 and also round 3. It did sort of throw him off kilter. But round 6, at the end of it, there was a bit of drama because the cut clearly worsening. The doctor is called up to the ring apron, but Fury says, look, I can see, and it all continues. But it was getting worse. You could clearly see it was getting bigger. They were talking about it between rounds in the corner, that it was getting worse. And Otto Wallin, at the end of that round, very dirty tactics. After a break is called, he actually just sort of raked Tyson Fury's face with his glove, trying to get into that bad cut. He could have easily had a point deducted there. But perhaps that was because he was starting to fade a bit. Some of the action of trying to wear Fury down, wear him out, wasn't really maybe paying off as he was, because he started to look like he was tiring in the 7th round. Fury came out very sort of on Otto Wallin, looking for the knockout. He backed up Wallin a couple of times, and from about round 8 onwards, Wallin obviously gassed. He didn't seem to have too much left in the tank through rounds 8, 9, 10, 11. Very much all one-way traffic. Otto Wallin, running on fumes, barely throwing a shot. But the final round, his corner tells him, look, just empty the tack, just go for it, try to land the left hand. And so he did. And that was a moment Tyson Fury backed up. He was hurt. He was holding on. And at that point as well, he was tired too. It wasn't only Otto Wallin that was the tired one. Fury had thrown a lot of punches. He'd put a lot of effort into the preceding, 5 rounds or so. But Wallin's gas tank, it was just depleted too much. He just did not have enough left to make Fury pay, and Fury finishes out the round, gets the decision, unanimous decision, as I mentioned. It was a brutal and rugged dogfight. And I don't think any of us sort of expected that happening, especially after what you saw at the start, because it was a very sedate sort of start to the fight. And even before that, the ring walk, I think many would have expected that was going to be maybe the highlight of the night. Tyson Fury, who's going by the nickname El Rey de los Gitanos, he came into the ring with a 5-minute and 12-second ring walk, which featured him with a Mexican-themed poncho, Mexican-themed sombrero. Also, he was yelling out, "We are Spartans," before he got onto a Mexican-styled float that was accompanied by a mariachi band, and also he was serenaded along the way as well. It really was. You can't accuse him of not being an entertainer in terms of the showmanship that he does present for these sorts of encounters, and very unexpected action in the ring. But if we just start with some of the good, the bad, and the ugly, it was one of these things where Fury showed a lot of good heart and determination. For a lot of that second half of the fight, sort of the technical sort of aspect of his game sort of fell by the wayside. He was operating on instinct in the latter rounds. He showed a good ticker. There was a lot of very nice short punches, uppercuts, and short left and right hands to the body. He was hurting Otto Wallin a lot, and the fact Otto Wallin didn't go down, I was expecting that in one of those, 8, 9, 10, 11. He looked done for, and the fight was going to be called off at any second. And he did appear to be rattled for those couple of rounds after the cut. But he overcame it, and he did rally, and obviously took over, started to dominate. And the other real bonus here was he was able to get some rounds, and he probably did need them, given that he's going into a potential fight with Deontay Wilder in 2020. 12 rounds here is actually going to be a good thing. He only had a round and a half or so against Tom Schwartz, so 12 rounds, that could actually be the sort of blessing in disguise. But he didn't look very polished in here for much of the fight. After that sort of cut happened in the third round, it changed the course of the fight. It changed the way that Tyson Fury fought the fight. And I think, he sort of fought in a way that many people wouldn't have expected. But you can also look at a few things that happened to this fight, with him getting hurt in the 12th. And if Deontay Wilder is able to catch up with him, what's he going to do to Tyson Fury? We've seen Wilder be able to put Tyson Fury down before, especially when he was tired. Fury hurt in another 12th round later in the fight. I was thinking heading into the end of the 11th, Fury looks like he's also fatiguing a little bit. And he was caught up with in that 12th round by Otto Wallin, who really had nothing left in the tank. So that could be a bit of a concern. Can he maintain his focus for the full 12 against Deontay Wilder? And we've seen again, him getting hit and hurt in here. And if you were Deontay Wilder, having seen this fight, and you're like, well, Otto Wallin is not regarded even in the top 30 at this point by most heavyweight fans. Fury is, to some extent, at different times in the fight, going life and death with him. How does that bode for his chances when he does fight Wilder? You have to ask that question. So there are a few red flags potentially with this performance that maybe, shouldn't be overlooked. But in terms of Otto Wallin, I think it's fair to say he came better than advertised. And that was something that I was saying ahead of this fight. I thought he would be able to do something and make Tyson Fury work. I was predicting if he was to sort of be stopped, it would sort of be around round 8 or so, after having given Tyson Fury a few things to think about, but ultimately starting to tire with Fury taking over. And it largely played out that way, except Otto Wallin showed a lot of heart, grit, and determination. And from about the 7th or 8th round or so, he was really starting to take a pasting by Tyson Fury, but refused to go down. And really, fatigue was Wallin's downfall in that second half of the fight. That first half of the fight and the drama of the cut, that was he was right in the fight at that point. But after about round 7, it was all downhill for him. And he said after the fight, "Nobody can question my heart." And I totally agree with that. He showed a lot of heart and determination in there. He came to fight. He didn't come to fall over like Tom Schwartz. He might not be a massive puncher, but, he was able to trouble Tyson Fury with his movement, some of the things he was doing, and he was landing cleanly on Fury at times. And I'm sure Deontay Wilder would have been taking note of that as well. But overall, it was a much better fight than I expected. Still, it's not the fight that we should have had, but it was pleasantly a surprise that it was better than we all expected. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.